I'd like to show you why knowing your why is the start of your journey. Without a strong why, it can be so difficult to reach your maximum potential. My name is Dr. Jason Balara, and every week I meet with real estate investors and mindset specialists that are taking action in order to build a life according to their own terms. We will break down what drives successful people and allows them to achieve at such a high level. If you are a professional wanting to break through, or simply someone that wants to hear an inspiring story, the Know Your Why podcast is made for you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jason Balara and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today I'm here with Alessandra Thompson. She is a 26-year-old real estate investor and analyst for Yarusi Holdings, as well as a managing member of Authentic Acquisition. So first of all, Alessandra, thank you for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be on here.
Awesome. So I would just love it if you'll kind of tell us your story, tell us, your background and then how you got into real estate and sort of we'll talk about whatever comes out of that.
Yeah. So I am originally from California and I was started with a marketing background and I just didn't really know what I wanted to do, but something that I always wanted was definitely the geographical time and financial freedom to just be able to kind of do what I want to do when I want to do it. And it wasn't until around COVID hit that I was just like not very happy, especially driving in California in the traffic. I was spending too much time and I was just like, what do I want out of my life? And it was when COVID happened that I was able to just kind of take a breath and just be like, what is it that I want to do? And I had this opportunity to move to Florida. I was just visiting my brother, but I ended up staying for the entire summer. He was doing door-to-door sales, selling solar panels. And I was just like, I might as well just make some money as well. So I was doing both the jobs. And it was when I moved back home that I was like, okay, I can finally, I was always looking for some sort of outlet to just like, how can I find my financial freedom? And I always looked into stocks or drop shipping, and then real estate kind of came up. And I always wanted to just rent one or like a duplex out, rent one side out, live in the other. And I had this opportunity to do that. And I was just like, I don't really want to get rid of all of my capital on this. So I eventually streamed into like multifamily and skipped over all of like the flipping, and because I really wanted to just replace my W-2 income. And so when Clubhouse started, I was able to just kind of jump on and get into different chat rooms and just kind of ask all of the questions that I wanted to know. There's some of them very silly, but glad that I asked them anyways, because I was able to just like network with a lot of different people. I was jumping on the phones. I was always listening to podcasts. I was reading books, and I kind of just took it to the next level. I was like, okay, I really want to do this with my life. And I met Jason and Peely, who are my mentors and people that I work with now. And they told me if I was ever in Nashville, Tennessee, just to let them know. And I, the next day, just drove out there, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to put myself in this position. And the worst that can happen is that I just drive back home. And so I met them in person. I had coffee with them, and they said their assistant had to go back home. So they were able to just have this open position for me if I wanted it. And I was still trying to do my W-2 job and work with them. And I was just like, okay, I can't put my focus into both of these things, and I need to just like take this risk and do multifamily. And so I started working with them. I quit my W-2 job, and I have just been working with them ever since. I got my first 36 unit property last July, and then just continuing to scale my portfolio from there. But it's just been such a great learning lesson and a challenge, and I absolutely love the space.
Awesome. I mean, really a lot we can talk about there. I think one thing, you're still young, and I think the fact that at such a young age I don't feel like a lot of people already know, oh, I want financial time freedom. I don't think a lot of people necessarily have that mentality, or maybe that's a generational thing. A lot of people in my generation didn't have that at 20, 25. So how did you get into that? Like what gave you that idea? What started you on that mindset? Is that something that you just kind of always had, or did it come from family? How did that come up?
think it's just because my family, they were able to travel a lot when we were younger, and I got used to this. Like, my dad was a movie producer, so we'd go and live with him on set sometimes, and I just never felt, I never wanted to feel confined to like working in an office, especially with the traffic. I would drive like 2 hours home every single day to go like 9 miles in California, and I was just like getting home exhausted and being like, I'm not happy, this is not what I want to be doing. And so I like looked for every single opportunity to replace that income and just find another way. And something else that just really drives me is that my dad, he passed away about 3 or 4 years ago, and he was working until the day he passed away, and that just like it really upset me. And it was something that I didn't want to have for my life, or not be able to spend enough time with my future family. Like, it's not something that I wanted. So I did a lot of exploring before I fell into multifamily. Like, I seriously, like, I'm glad that I enjoy it because it's and something that I'm good at, because I don't know if I could do the whole 9 to 5. I mean, I could, but it's just not in the cards for me to be able to live out some of the dreams that I want to live. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I mean, it's fantastic that you figured it out, or like basically you've got a head start on probably, well, 90% of people don't do this at all. So you've got a head start even on the 10% that do in a lot of aspects. So that's awesome. And I think, you know, I always find everybody I talk to, our backgrounds impact us, right? They impact how we look at life. So if you were traveling a lot and, you know, got to kind of experience that lifestyle, and then the idea of having a 9 to 5 job with 2 weeks off a year is just, it's not appealing anyway, but it's like, it's really not appealing if that's not what you
yeah, I just
are
felt
used to.
very like trapped in a way where I just wasn't able to I just didn't even know what I wanted to do or what I was enjoying. I want to be able to like enjoy and keep growing and learning, and this is something that just provides that for me. And I love the space, the skills needed, or like the skills are so useful as well, just within like raising capital or asset management. Like, you can apply these things to a lot of just everything, and I'm absolutely in love with the space.
Yeah, awesome. And I think I can attest that you do have to drive a long time in the car to go a short distance in California. I live in Los Angeles, so I know what that
You
what
do.
that
I didn't
commute
know
can
that.
do to, yeah, it's the commute's bad. It's much better to be able to work from home or work very, very close to home is kind of how I've tried to structure things. It is
Yeah.
tough.
Where do you live in California? I didn't even know that.
In Atwater Village, so just
Yeah.
like right by Glendale, right by the between
I,
Griffith Park and
I
Glendale.
lived in
Yeah.
Eagle Rock.
Oh,
So
awesome. So
familiar with
not very far away. Yeah,
yeah,
not very far away.
but
But
I would drive
now you're in
to
Nashville. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Nashville, I hear the people complaining sometimes about the traffic to go like 30 minutes. I'm like, that is
right,
seriously a dream. It's
right.
fine.
Yeah. Nobody, yeah, most people don't understand how bad it really is. So that if you aren't here to experience it, it's brutal.
I know.
Um, Tell me about Clubhouse. I am
So
on Clubhouse. I have gotten on there. I've listened. I've never said anything. I have not spent a lot of time, so I have not made good use of it. But tell me about it. Tell me what you did, and maybe even tell people what they can do
yeah,
to sort of help themselves by how do you use Clubhouse to your advantage?
I think that being able to like, I feel like it was helpful for me because it was right when Clubhouse started, and I had all this time that I was just like, okay, I have this opportunity, just like you could raise your hand and go up on stage and join these small rooms. And I was able to just like connect with people. And I always came to the stage having some sort of like questions to just start a conversation for everyone to just kind of understand. And a lot of the people that I spoke to on the phone, they always noticed that I was like always in the rooms, I was like, just it's as background, just always. And Peely, every time she saw me, she's like, I recognize that you're just always in the same rooms as me. And I would follow her into there and just get like specific questions, advice. And that's when I just started building these relationships with people that I still talk to today, because I'm able to just be like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Hey, I have a question on this loan, or I have a question on this problem that I'm facing. Like, it's just, you make that I really think that your network is your net worth, like how they say, it's what's going to help you grow. It's the people that you partner with and who you team up with. So I just used it as somewhat a place for me to just continue educating myself, hearing other people's stories, joining. Like, I really love when people would break down a deal. It's just interesting to hear all of the terms, and then everything kind of just comes together, and then just networking off of there. I'm actually not on there anymore, but I think that I should probably join some more rooms, but I think that what I needed, like I got what I needed, and like I was able to meet the people that I work with, and now I don't know, I probably do have the time, but yeah.
But you said you got what you needed, but I don't see it that way so much. I think you did what you needed, right? You got on there, you had focused questions to ask in the appropriate rooms. You apparently stalked Peely, but we won't use that word. You followed her in Clubhouse rooms, but also then you said you just got up and drove from Florida to Tennessee one day to meet with them. So I mean, like, these are really, really good lessons for people.
I think it just starts with just like taking action. And I think a lot of people, I mean, I even was afraid, but at the end of the day, I was just like, again, if the worst thing that happens is that I drive home, then that's something that I'm willing to take the risk, because I feel like having a strong purpose and a why is something that's going to drive you to be able to do these things. And a lot of people let fear stop them and let all of these circumstances get in the way. But I think if you just take action, that's what's going to get you to where you want to be, even if it's going to take a while. If you're like consistent with what you're doing, then that's what's just going to get you closer and closer to your goals. So I just looked at it in that mindset where I'm just like, that's not an option for me not to get to where I want to go. And if this is something that could lead to something, then I'm going to take it. And yeah.
And but that's exactly it, right? That's fantastic advice for anyone essentially trying to achieve anything. It's like, you can find excuses, you can find reasons not to do it, you can find, all of the limiting beliefs, they're in everyone's head. It's just a matter of sort of blocking them out and just doing it anyway. Or maybe you don't block them out, maybe you're just like, I'm going anyway, I'm gonna give this a shot, and if it works out, awesome, like, and if it doesn't. But I think people always think about well, what if it doesn't work? And then you hear, sort of the mindset shift is, what if it does work? And you're a perfect example of that. Like, you took a risk, you drove up there, and now you're in a really good position. So let's talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about kind of what you do for them, but I also want to talk about this 36 unit as well. So you can start wherever you like, but I think both of those will be cool to talk about.
Yeah, so I started working with them last March. It's almost my year anniversary, and of course, I like knew just what I learned, but I realized that having to be on the forefront and gain that experience like firsthand has been the most valuable for me, to just understand what I'm doing, especially like going on site and actually speaking to the brokers myself. Like, I think that having that experience is what's going to just keep pushing you farther along into the journey. Excuse me. And I just started underwriting, and then I started learning the asset management, and then I started to just speak to people, reach out to people that I know, to just start raising capital as well. I think that my sweet spot lies in the asset management. That's my favorite part. I just love speaking to contractors. I like having the operations and speaking to the property management groups, and just like figuring everything out and just putting the business plan together. I'm working on the investor raising. I think it's definitely my biggest challenge, but it's something that I'm still, I wear many hats. Let's just say that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I know that from personal experience. It's sort of a lot of emails with your name on it. And can you handle this? Yeah, I totally get that. And I am with you. I also enjoy asset management the most. Mm-hmm. And I find capital raising to be the biggest struggle. I think that's I think it probably, most people, it's like you're sort of one or the other. You have, although Jason seems to be good at both, but it's but it's a somewhat personality type, probably, I would assume. So Okay, so tell us about that 30, it's 36 unit, right?
It's 36 units. Yeah. So we got it through a lender relationship. The lender actually lived over in Little Rock. He was raised there, and there was this property that was on the MLS that was marked as residential because it was 5 different buildings on one parcel. And so no one was going to purchase from the MLS like a 36 unit. And so he sent it over to us. We reached out and got the financials. It's in like the main downtown area. It's in a really nice neighborhood. It was like rents could be getting like 975. So, and they were at like 650 right off the main street. A lot of them were on month-to-month leases, and we just started to clean up the tenant base and implement the business plan. The units are all 1 bedroom. They're 850 square feet, so they're huge. There's some opportunity to just turn some of them into 2 bedrooms. The property management group wasn't doing their best. We actually hired another property management group and had to already replace that one as well. So I really think property management group is your best team member, and things are running smoothly now. But we finance it with a local bank. Arkansas has the it's a state that has, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Can we cut this part out?
we can get edited out.
I just kind of freaked out for a second. Anyways, we found that Arkansas has the most density of banks in any state. So a lot of the community banks just wanted to finance the deal. And we did a loan to cost loan, and we just started to clean up the exterior, and we found tax credits. I'm so sorry. I'm really ruining this.
You're fine, dude. Don't worry about it at all. You're doing fine. I wouldn't notice.
How in depth do I need to get here? Are you able to cut this part out? Because I'm panicking.
Let's pause for a minute. Okay. Would you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your 36 unit, please?
Yeah, so the 36 unit was, we were told by our lender, he grew up in the area in Little Rock, Arkansas, and it was on the MLS. He found it from a friend of his, and he sent over the property and the financials, and we were able to just kind of take a look at it and see that it was in one of the most desirable areas in Little Rock. And a lot of the units were on month-to-month leases and $250 below market. And we were able to just go in there and get it financed through a community bank, because Arkansas has the most density of banks in all of the United States. And we were able to just go in there, and we faced a lot of challenges with our property management group. We had a lot of mold removal and title issues, and we've already been through 2 property management companies. And we just were able to implement an energy efficiency program and start turning all of the units, and we're just replacing all of the new contracts. And yeah, it's been going really well. We're almost fully leased in there. We're actually heading there next week. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm loving it. I'm loving watching it all come together.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I think there's a really couple good lessons right there. One is how much relationships matter. You said before, your net worth being your network being your net worth. And it's true. It's my first deal came through a property manager that I had been, sort of communicating with. So just having that lender relationship, that's helpful. And then, so that deal was listed on the MLS, which is, it's not a place that people really look for multifamily, right? It's kind of like,
so no one's really
the norm. Right. So if you want to escape some of the competition that goes along with multifamily, sort of looking in those less known places is good, and finding those little opportunities. I don't know if you ever looked at kind of MLS listings around Los Angeles, but there's stuff on the MLS all the time that are like smaller multifamilies, and I see probably 1 in 20 that it seems it's listed by a residential broker and they don't actually know what it's worth. So it's an interesting opportunity that I plan to eventually take advantage of. But it just goes to show you, like, if you look in the less kind of picked over places, then you can find some opportunities there. So that's a really cool, I think, lesson for people to know, and just building those relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, well, Alessandra, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk. Let me ask you the questions that I like to ask each guest. And the first one is related to the name of the show, being Know Your Why. And so, what is your why? What drives you?
My why, I've kind of touched on it, but it's just to have geographical time and financial freedom. And I just really want to be able to spend my time with my family and my friends, being able to do what I would like to do when I want to do it on my own terms, and just be able to live comfortably. I don't need like a lot of money, but I just want to be able to do the things I love doing, and spending time with the ones I love, because like I said, like I didn't have that with my own family sometimes, and it's just time moves quickly. So I just want to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I train residents and interns, and so they're younger veterinarians, and I I talk to them. They must be sick of listening to me, but I'm like, look, you're like, time is your friend. Like if you start thinking about this stuff now, you you don't have to you don't have to play catch up. You don't have to. It's just using that compounding effect of time and getting invested in some way, whether that's actively or passively. I think it's so important. It's not a thing that most people get to learn about at a young age. So I think that's
Yeah.
really cool.
And I think
Uh,
that's why it's so great that like multifamily is able to provide that, not just for the operators, but also the people that you care about. You're able to just give them that opportunity to invest alongside you, so they're able to also achieve their own goals and reach that financial freedom for themselves. So I think that's why I love the space so much.
yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think uh, it's it's a very exciting to. I mean, all the investors are important, but it's to me, more exciting to bring people that don't come from money and have maybe struggled and bring them up, from their financial position than it is to make wealthy people even wealthier. Uh, it's all just, it's all part of it. But I think, being able to do that with sort of your core group is really nice to sort of have that as almost like a partnership, whether they're passive or active. It's very cool. Okay, second question. Tell us something about yourself that is not common knowledge. Most people don't know. Maybe that's a hobby or a special skill or something like that.
Oh my goodness. I do adult gymnastics. I love gymnastics, and I've been taking a bunch of classes and just trying to get more flexible and agile. And I love just moving my body and being active, and boxing. Like I just love going outside and just being outside. Yeah, going out there. I love
Awesome.
traveling. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you do gymnastics as a child and you've just continued, or you like started that recently?
I did it. Yeah, I did it growing up, and then I stopped, and then I restarted again, and I found like a new love for it and passion for just being able to, because you just kind of forget to do those things, and like time passes, and it's so relaxing and nice to be able to just feel like you're back in that time again. It's
Yeah, yeah.
refreshing.
Well, and it's another, sort of facet of that time and financial freedom is it's like you, you do in life, you get caught up in all the, work, 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 work. But once you can take back control of your time, part of that is you can put in the things that you like doing that you got away from, right? It's just like
Yeah.
those things like gymnastics for you. I used to play guitar. Like I haven't played guitar in years, but like things like that I'm like, I, I look forward to
I know
settling
people
down and
forget
doing
about
things
it
again.
too. Yeah, it's sad. It feels like you're like missing a little part of your young adulthood and childhood. And I just think
Yeah,
it's able to just like bring you back and realize like what's important and what you actually enjoy doing, instead of just like having this work, work, work mindset all the time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great. Okay, how can people reach you if they want to reach out to you after hearing this? What's the best way?
They can email me at alice@authenticacquisition.com, or they can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn's a great place to just start a conversation. But I'll also send you over my Calendly link. I love just hopping on the phone call and being able to provide a value to other people that are looking to get started, or someone that just has any questions. Like, I'm always just there to help. So yeah.
Okay, great. And we'll put that stuff in the show notes. Last question for you is, what piece of advice would you give to someone, it's hard to say someone younger, but someone maybe a year ago in their journey? What would you tell them to do is kind of motivation to get them started?
I would say don't let fear drive you. I think you should just be able to focus on yourself and your goals and just take action. Don't let fear stop you from doing what you want to be doing. I think there's so much reward in just getting out of your comfort zone and just like purposely making yourself feel uncomfortable, because it'll help you grow in the end. And I think that's what's helped me just get to where I need to be, because I wouldn't have done anything if I had this voice in the back of my head saying, you can't do this, or you're like all these self-limiting beliefs. I just have to, all right, I'm just going to take action and see where it goes. So just get started.
Yeah. Awesome advice. I think, and you're a perfect example. I mean, I think that's a thing that you hear out there a lot. People say it, you just take action, just get started, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you really sort of hit it and outlined almost exactly how to do it, right? Someone in your position getting started, like, these are the things that you need to do, and you just did them. So I think it's kudos to you. It's fantastic. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we will sign off. Have a good day, everyone.
I'd like to show you why knowing your why is the start of your journey. Without a strong why, it can be so difficult to reach your maximum potential. My name is Dr. Jason Balara, and every week I meet with real estate investors and mindset specialists that are taking action in order to build a life according to their own terms. We will break down what drives successful people and allows them to achieve at such a high level. If you are a professional wanting to break through, or simply someone that wants to hear an inspiring story, the Know Your Why podcast is made for you.